Good for you.
There you go. I'll turn around now.
Time is it?
It's after 7.
7:15. All right.
7:09.
Oh, well, that's a little fast.
Okay, I'd like to call the Town of Hebron Douglas Library Board of Trustees regular meeting for Monday, October 21, 2024, to order it at 7:15. The first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we do have a quorum, and we have Catherine Brinkman attending the internet. She's muted. So. We can't go anywhere without our clerk. Did everyone get their materials and everything?
Yes. All right.
So 1, 2, 3. Yes, we have a quorum.
You have a quorum?
Yes, we do. Is she on?
Yeah, she's there.
Okay, the next section is public comments. Do we have any members of the public who wish to briefly address us? Hearing no overwhelming riotous shouting. Next would be the reports. The secretary approving the minutes of 9/9/2024. Before anyone, I noticed that isn't high school 2 words?
It is. Yes.
Okay, and the strategic plan committees under integral, it's 1 word. 3rd line,
On which page?
oversight, final 4, page 4.
Okay.
So I think that we would need to amend them to make that 1 word.
Yeah, just the correction.
Correct.
Not a major deal.
We could also do under integral, also the Rambler is spelled incorrectly.
yes,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
Oh.
RHAM, all in caps, and then lowercase BLER.
I'll email those to.
Did anyone else have any comments, corrections? Discussion? Would someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes with the 2 corrections?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It carried unanimously. Okay. Okay, wrong thing. Okay, next is the town manager representative.
Already working on next year's budget, even though this year's budget really just begun. CIP, the department heads are putting together their CIP. Bill is going to talk about a little bit later. We are moving ahead with the townwide security project, so we're installing cameras and this entry systems in almost all of our buildings and starting the first week in November. We're starting at veterans, and then we are in the process of installing, I don't know if it's Stop the Bleed.
Yep, it's here.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's been hung yet because we had to talk to Sean, but yeah.
Stop the Bleed. It's in every building. Training.
There will be no blood on the carpet. That's my rule.
Sad that we have to do those.
Right.
But we.
Well, especially in a building where you have the public. I have had a patron injure themselves and bleed on my carpet. It's like
Granddaughter. we had a fire drill and we had our, lockdown drill.
I know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have discussed here among the staff what we would do in case of an active shooter. In case you wonder, I'm jumping out a second story window because I have nowhere else to go, so.
Stop the, I mean, that's just the physical stop the bleed, but we do need to active shooter. Done it a few times, an excellent instructor, all of our employees, but it's been a few years.
Yeah, no, we've talked about it, and Lita and I both just went through it a year ago, so we've kind of talked about, you know, what would you do in the children's department? Like I said, I'm the one that would have to jump out a second story window because I'm stuck. Land in the shrubbery.
Right.
Got a bunch of tables for this room.
They're in there.
Yep.
They're all locked up. Oh,
So we're gonna have plenty of.
lots of tables. That's exciting, actually.
Nice, yeah. It's good for events and such.
Yeah. Harvest Fest is coming up in a couple of weeks. The library is involved in that.
It's like a week. It's very soon.
Holiday celebration, which is already starting to talk about me.
Cool.
Lots of good things going.
I have a question. The town-wide security system is for the outside of the building?
It's yeah, it'll be the cameras inside as well. And
Okay.
the, you know, replacing I assume the motion sensor, everything that we have eventually.
So there's new
Yeah.
cameras, there'll be some new cameras inside, there's gonna be additional cameras outside.
And then a keyless entry system for the door.
How does the keyless entry system work?
You have a fob each, and I'm assuming it's the same way that I've seen them used before or had them used before, which is each employee has a key fob that's like there. So it would be, okay, the library staff, you could in theory track that the library staff were coming and
You'll be
going.
able to know.
Yeah. But you have essentially a key fob that will trigger the lock. And so only authorized people can get in and,
So if I
Operators.
attack you in the parking lot and take your key fob, I can't get in?
well, you could if you knew how to use it.
Biometric.
And if
Yeah.
if the cameras didn't catch you.
I say,
Okay, good. Just wanted to know.
Well, we'll still have keys, the old fashioned keys for the interior lines.
Yes.
Now,
Anything else, pedestrian bridge on schedule?
Bridges, the physical bridges due in a few weeks,
Yeah.
so.
They did have to undo the concrete. We noticed that last week. They poured concrete from the bridge side to here. And we were, we're like, oh, look, they're pouring the concrete. And then a day later we came and they were taking the concrete out.
interesting.
So and now it's all back again. Yeah, no, we did not. We were like, okay.
It looks weird.
Yeah.
It'll be so nice when it's done.
But yeah, we were just like, wait a minute, they just put that in.
Well, my reason for the question is just for lighting. I was like, maybe by the end of this.
Some of the lamp posts are up.
Yeah, they've already put some of them up.
There's 2 or 3 posts that are already installed.
Nice.
I don't think they're illuminated yet.
They're not turned on yet, but they're there.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
now, are we going to have a counter out there to see how many people use it?
I'm gonna watch from my window and I'll have a little clicker.
I do wonder if because lots of people drop their kids off for gymnastics, like I feel like that would be great, like drop the kid off the gymnastics, pop over here with the other
I think
kids.
that would be great
That'd
to
be great.
know if people are coming over to the library.
Said,
Yeah.
I've been, entertaining. Today we had a Zoom meeting and I was like, okay, this is a really boring Zoom meeting. And you're staring at the talking head. So I was watching the equipment out the window. I can see it from my office.
Yeah.
So
I think it'll be
I'll
good.
keep an eye and see how many people I see crossing it.
Nice.
I know someone, a woman came to HIHS. And her child was that she had dropped them off at the library. It'd be so great to be able to walk back
Yeah.
and forth.
Absolutely.
Any other? That's it. Any other questions for Donna? Hearing none, moving on to chairperson. I really don't have any remarks at this point, which can't be handled under old business, Friends of the Library. So let us move on to the library director, who has been very busy.
I have been
Yeah,
busy.
there's lots.
It's been a busy month. The one thing just that is not in my report because it has happened just in the past week, if you have tried to go onto our website, you will notice that our calendar is not working. They upgraded the server, which we knew was happening. And this is a company, I should say, Plymouth Rocket Event Keeper is used by thousands of libraries. It is by far the most popular calendar app. So it was down and then it stayed down and we heard nothing. And the end of last week, they informed us that as of October 31st, they are discontinuing the product completely. So I and Claire and Lita have been spending a lot of time on Bibliomation has been great. They have arranged webinars for product demos for the other options. They're getting us pricing and so on. But if you need to check the calendar or register for something, we're going back old school. So you have to actually call or email us for the time being until we can get something new in place.
All right.
Inside budget, not capital.
Yep. That is an expense because it's a software subscription. You pay for it yearly. And Bibliomation is also working to get all of us a refund from Plymouth Rocket because we all pay by fiscal year.
Right.
And it was very unexpected. So they are doing that for us to try to get as much of a refund as they can.
If memory serves me correctly, you have a position that
I do. I'm on the board. Yep. So they are working on it because again, it affects thousands of libraries. I would guess that it affects 2/3 of Bibliomation libraries use this software. It is, let me tell you, the library world is talking about nothing else but calendars right now. But just so you're aware, if you do, go to the website or want to check our calendar, that yes, we know it's not working. All we can think is that the upgrade went so horrifically wrong that they decided it was more cost effective to just abandon the product, which I don't know what you did, but that's pretty spectacular.
express our thanks.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we had a meeting, a Bibliomation meeting last week and just obviously it's a main big topic of conversation and we all thanked Alessandra for, going to bat for us. And like I said, we're hoping to have something in the next week or so. We'll have made our decision to try to get something. But again, any company that we go with is looking at sudden inundation of thousands of libraries and other organizations that suddenly need to replace their software. So we're not expecting it to be like tomorrow that we get up and running. Yeah, it was quite a quite a surprise. They were like, by the way.
The course system has its own program. I do not recommend it.
So the demo that we had today, we liked a lot. So we're waiting for pricing on that. The one that we had last week, none of us, Claire and Lita and I were like, no, it's too clunky. It's even clunkier than Event Keeper. And then we have one more that we're gonna do tomorrow, the demo to see if it works better. But so we have at least one good option.
Do we have the ability in the meantime, maybe just like on the Facebook page once a week or once every other week to post like, hey, here are
Yeah,
events
we
coming
try
up?
to do on Facebook. We try to do our flyers and everything
Perfect,
as
yeah.
much as possible so that people know what's coming up.
Excellent.
I didn't know she could have a computer.
I think she's on her phone.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
You,
Hi,
MA.
MA.
We were trying to find out how to get you in here.
Well, I've been sitting here with the damn thing for about 30 minutes. And I just heard the music, if you want to call it that.
Well, right now, we have made it down to the librarian's report. So nothing, and we have no members of the public here, so we're just going through the
And it
regular
said when-
agenda.
When it picked up, it said there were only 2 people there.
What?
Yeah, so it's us and the board clerk, yes, are on Zoom, and then we have, what, 5 in attendance in person.
We have a quorum.
Okay, so it didn't speak to that, okay. So I just sat here listening to da 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 over and over. Anyway, okay.
Okay,
But yeah, so
Welcome.
everything else is just as is in my report. Don't know if there are any questions.
Anything further on the Charter Revision Commission?
Mm-mm,
Hmm.
I haven't heard anything.
Thank you for the update on the new railing.
Mhm. Yep,
Mhm.
that's the,
And then I love that you applied for the Greater Together Community Fund
Yes.
grant, because that, I feel like that's a
Yeah.
great use of it, and it's
Yep.
addressing community feedback and
yeah,
will make
so we
hopefully
had,
everybody's job easier.
Columbia Glass was out here, Lenny from Columbia Glass, who I thought would have retired by now. But he was like, "Oh, didn't you used to be in Willimantic?" I was like, yes, I did. To talk with me about, so he can kind of brainstorm the best ways to close that in, bearing in mind what the feedback from the fire marshal was about that. So he's going to get back to me with ideas, but he gave me kind of a ballpark estimate for what it would cost. So hopefully, now we wait and see.
Love it, yeah. And the chairs too. Yeah,
Yes, those chairs are, were bought off of Amazon, regular use chairs, and they are not designed for the amount of use that they get. So we had a couple of furniture vendors that I reached out to, and one came here and really liked some of the products that she had, and she's on the state contract, so that's very helpful.
Nice.
that we-
Okay, great.
But really like some of the options she has that are flexible, so you can kind of reconfigure them, which I feel like the teens would really like, that you can, move them in different ways and you
Right.
can use them in different ways. So again, we'll see. Fingers crossed.
The book challenges, is there anything we need to do to change our policy?
No. It was more of an update on sort of challenges that have been taking place around the country and around the region. Particularly around the region because it's from New York, and kind of where the trends that are being seen in materials challenges, and then ideas for sort of helping your staff to deal with it's kind of a constant knowledge that somebody may come in and want to challenge something that you have in your collection. So, but yes, we are in good shape on that. It was just helpful to kind of know what the current trends were.
Mhm.
Building. No more graffiti.
No more graffiti. Like I said, it was one instance, which we were able to repair. But we put the couple of inexpensive nanny cams in the back, which it's funny. A couple of the teens came up and were like, "Why are there baby monitors in the back?" And I wanted to say, because you're acting like babies, but I didn't. I said, well, you guys know there was some damage back here, and
Right.
so they Bryce Reed, our resident trooper, has been working to have someone here. They've been kind of dropping in. We had a strong presence for a week or so of someone here after school, and he's talked to like every kid, and they're still, they're teenagers. There's a lot of them. It can get a little noisy, but they've
Right.
noticeably been kind of a little more
Under control.
aware of what they're
Mhm.
doing and making somewhat better choices. So, and he's, Officer Tom is continuing to kind of drop in when he has a chance. We've already talked to them about coming this Friday because it's an early
That's it,
dismissal
yeah.
day. So there will be someone here. So if you see a police car out front on Friday, it is because it is an early dismissal day. So someone's here because we get a different group of teens on those days than our normal crew. But the incident in question, we're reasonably sure we know which group of kids it was, although again, we didn't have eyes back there, so we couldn't see at the time. They're seventh graders and they're making stupid choices. And I think now that they've been spoken to by, you know, the police are here, they've been significantly calmer, which is good. We have repaired the damage that was done you mean last year? The damage that we did or
No,
this
just
year?
recently.
Oh, it took wood crayons to fill it in. It was very, very minor. It was not, the press release from Trooper Reed's office made it sound like we had, I don't know, rioting kids with Molotov cocktails. It was a very, very minor scratches. It took 5 minutes to cover up. It was not a big deal. It was more of an effort to sort of stop it before it got any worse. But we have no way of knowing which kid it was. We're reasonably sure which group of kids it was, but we had no cameras back there, which is why I purchased the nanny cams, because we couldn't tell. So, but it was very, very minor damage. But the Trooper Reed essentially wanted to put the fear of God into anyone who might be thinking. So his statements was very, you
It
know,
was very hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've, you know, again, I think it was a couple, we're pretty sure it was part 1 or 2 of a group of 7th graders. Again, we have no way of knowing. That just made some stupid decisions because they're 7th graders and they're for the first time being allowed to, you know, go to the library by themselves and they're trying to be cool. And
Meg,
so I think we have stopped that.
at one point, Meg, you mentioned, having RAM do some education about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna talk about that under integral, but yeah, I'm I would love to do a video, just kind of informative. We did have, Drusilla sent me notices, so we did have a notice that went out to parents for the high school and I sent it to the middle school and that went out also. So we did have communication that went out to all parents in the 7 through 12 grades, about the issues at the library and like, please talk to your kids about this. So hopefully that.
Yeah, and we
made a
have
little bit of a
seen,
difference.
we've seen more parents coming into the library to pick their kids up.
Oh, that's good.
We're used to having it around 5 o'clock. You see everybody start to leave and there'll be a car pull up outside and we're starting to see more parents coming in,
That's good.
which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, you know, we seem to have, knock on wood, hopefully kind of nipped it in the bud. You know, that some of the kids that were being a little rowdy seem to be making much better decisions. I think they just needed to be encouraged to kind of think about it. And, you know, I had to talk to a couple of them and be like, guys, you're in a shared space. I understand, you know, you've been in school all day. I get it, but, and they've been really good about taking it outside and, you know, running around outside or sitting at the picnic table or what have you. So.
Excellent.
Meg, yeah, notice it went out, the RAM,
Yep.
that went to Andover, Hebron and Marlboro.
Andover, Hebron, and Marlboro, all parents of 7th through 12th graders, which I think is the issue. So,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So,
yeah, it's actually,
and
I
it
mean,
seems
it's
mostly like junior high, but I figured
and I really think
we would
it's-
put it in both high school and middle
I
school
know.
publications, just because there are parents that have kids in both, and that way, the more likely that someone sees it, maybe they'll have a conversation.
And I
with their
do
kid.
have to share the story that I had a voicemail on my phone one morning when I came in from a young lady, I would guess was about 13, asking, you know, she said what her name was, and that she was calling for clarification of what our policies were for use in the teen area. And could I please call her, and left a number. So I waited until mid-afternoon when I thought, I assume I'm calling this teenager. And it turned out that I was calling her mom. And her mom was like, and I said what her daughter had said. Well, her daughter had been arguing that she should still be allowed to use the library because it was just a couple of kids and, you know, that there were policies in place And so she had very intelligently called me knowing that I would talk to her mom.
Oh, that's funny.
So she is back at the library. She was not one of our troublemakers in any way, but I thought it was very funny that she got me to help lobby for her. But I have now, and I think a lot of the kids know that I'm amassing a stock of parent cell phone numbers. And I have not had to use any of them, but it's very helpful that they know
Nice.
that I have that
Nice.
Post-it note with who to call. So, but yeah, it's been, there again, we get 30 kids in here after school, and they've just been released, and we occasionally have to remind them that they need to like drop the volume a little bit. But if we can get the funding to glass in the teen area, that'll really help that issue. Because they're not even screaming or yelling. It's just that you've got 30 kids and they're all talking, and it, gets pretty loud.
Loudly.
They're teenagers. They don't
know
do
it, yeah.
volume regulation very well.
Exactly.
But we also have a group, I noticed lately, that is working on the puzzle in the front room. So I find that entertaining. That we have a bunch that come in and work on the puzzle and kind of hang out. So I stick my head in and I'm like, you guys aren't done yet?
You don't sneak in and take,
One of-
like my
no,
mother did,
and
take
one of-
pieces out.
One
So
of
we
the
have-
young men looked at me, I think it was last Friday, and I said, what, you guys are still working on this? It's been like a week. And he looked at me and went, ma'am, we're not that smart.
Are you serious? Okay, moving on. The thing with the budget, was that the painting that was the what's pushing us over the light items?
Oh, actually, I should have taken that out because I realized that I did my math wrong. So we have not
Okay.
gone over our line item.
There.
Based on my percentages. I put something in there that I should not have. Essentially, I entered something twice, and then I went back and went, wait a minute.
That's good.
That line item's not over. We're good. Okay.
And then-
That's what
Right.
happens when I'm working in another location. I have to. I don't have all my checks and balances with me.
Okay, let's see, and then
We were able to get the, account 073 balance.
I have not talked to Tammy this week. I'll see her tomorrow, so I'll have that for next month. But at the moment, we should have about $27,000 in that account.
Yep.
okay, and so we're doing pretty well with our budget, even
Mhm.
without outside contributions.
Yep.
So to speak. Okay. Ooh, that's a lot of programs.
We have a lot of programs. And there are actually more that are being scheduled, but I didn't put them in because I wasn't completely sure what the dates were. So we have a couple of local authors we're talking to. We have a gardening program we're looking at doing. We did, for those of you who wonder about such things, we did just book the Rent a Chicken. So we will be hatching eggs in the
Yes.
children's department
Yes.
in the spring again.
Adam Parks, or Hebron Elementary did that.
Yeah.
We had it here last year. Yeah, company that brings us all of the stuff and then takes the chickens and all the stuff away again when they're done. Oh yeah, it was great. And I have to admit, I enjoyed going upstairs and talking to the chickens as they hatched and, go talk to the grumpy chickens. Apparently I have the ability to make a chicken fall asleep. We would have chickens running around and I would pick it up and talk to it and pet it and they would all go.
You know,
That's my hidden skill
I was
is
gonna
being a
say,
chicken whisperer.
if you ever decide to leave, then you can become a.
I can be a chicken whisperer.
You might even get your own TV show.
But yeah, I would go upstairs and, they're little fluffy things. They're awfully cute. So
And so the library budget, then we are in good
we
shape.
are in good shape. Yep.
Anyone have any questions about the library budget?
Not this year's, but
Next year's?
start talking about capital.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's on the agenda.
That's next.
Yep.
Oh, that's under new business.
It is under new business.
Are you done reporting?
I am done reporting.
Okay, and next thing, old business, Friends of the Library. I have not gotten a response from Friends of the Library, and this was their deadline
Hmm.
as, in responding. So at this point, I'm open to any suggestions that anyone has on how to deal with the situation.
Right.
Because at this point, based on rumor, innuendo, and questionable and sometimes good sources that they have over $81,000 in their bank accounts,
Right,
which we think was solicited for the library.
right.
And the last thing we heard, they had requested a lot of things from the association. Remember, we suggested that the money go to the association. And they requested almost 20 years worth of records from the association to verify their nonprofit status. And supposedly, I would imagine, to see if they have been soliciting money from the public and therefore should have registered with the state of Connecticut. And Donna told me that she is responding on behalf of the association.
We received the certified from the friends. Early September. Asking for many things, minutes, treasurer statements, our bylaws, tax return,
Tax returns, your 990s?
our tax
Mhm.
returns.
Huh.
So I did respond directly to Tim. Sent him a couple things that I had at my fingertips. This came in while I was away, so I didn't jump on a couple weeks. The other minutes, I have tax return. Bylaws, I gave them. Not going back. Association has any history. Restricted donations and control over, so like we have the trust and we've been managing.
A restricted donation.
So I'll respond and I want to give them something. So that
Sure.
we are capable of managing this money. I hope to send that. For a couple of the tax returns that I didn't have in mind.
You do a 990 end, don't you? Or do you do a full 990? That's a postcard.
Like a postcard, yeah.
Yeah.
They, as far as I know, they have not, and that's from, I mean, I don't have any direct knowledge, but that's what I've been told, is that they have not had another meeting.
So, we don't have a response at this point. So I imagine, I'm thinking in my mind that the next step would be to ask them for the money.
I don't think that's what.
Are they waiting for all these financial proofs?
We don't
I
know.
didn't hear that.
We don't know if they're meeting or when they're meeting.
Because this was our deadline.
Well, I think.
I know that, but they requested all of our contacts for proof.
I'm sorry, they requested from the association?
Well, I thought it was from trustees also.
Oh, you mean, the Freedom of
The Freedom of
Information request?
Information request is a separate issue. But I do need to remind those of you who have not responded to the FOI request. You're exempt, you weren't on the board.
Okay.
But the rest of you that we do need to respond to that, and we've sent one flash drive of information.
You received all my stuff, right?
Yes, I have yours, I believe Meg.
I just forwarded mine
Forwarded
directly,
everything.
yeah.
I have Sue Porter's, or else I sent that on to, that has already been sent over.
So if anybody, happens to have anything where they used a different email or, some sort of card, I don't know what else it would be at this point.
And we're working on pulling everything from the info at Douglas Library and from the other douglaslibrary.org, because those are not managed by the town.
Right.
So at this point, we have all of the part-time staff members have responded, but we're working on
So is it,
pulling all of those.
Emma, is it your thought that they're waiting on the Freedom of Information request to determine whether they're giving the library the money from their solicitations?
I'm not saying it's to determine whether they're giving the money, but they're waiting. I would assume they're waiting for that information since they requested it.
Okay, but there's no contingency. They're not connected. I mean,
Yeah, no,
As
it's
far
a
as we know?
separate, as far as I
think they were
know.
Also asking the information about the association. I mean, how the, you know, how the funds from the association are used.
Mhm.
Right.
So that, you know, at the moment, there was just so much hurt and just so much anger, on both, on all sides.
well, I mean, I'm not angry. I want money to benefit the library.
Well, whether it's the library itself or the association, or whether they purchase something for the library,
Well, that would be nice.
you know, but I think need the air to clear. And, you know, the association, their information they're asking about the association, all those pieces of information be assimilated and figure out which way they really, I mean, at one point, they really wanted to give it to other libraries, other organizations.
Yeah,
And so that, you know,
they backed off of that.
I
You
haven't
don't know.
heard anything other than that was one of the things they were talking about. So I think we need to,
Can we like write something to them encouraging them to give it to the association? Because
I mean, I think
we do
already-
have a
We
deadline.
already did that.
Right.
yes.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, we have a deadline. I mean, we should do something with a deadline.
I mean, I feel
Say
like
yeah,
we've already asked them, you know, I think the board has made its position clear what they would like to see happen. And now I think it's up to
Okay.
the association to, you know, respond to their letter.
Absolutely.
And you said that stuff will probably go out this week, so,
Like I said, I'm waiting for a couple
right.
other,
Has the association met recently?
Yeah, that's what Donna was talking about. She's putting together all of the stuff that they had requested from the association. So that's like a very
know.
large,
But has there been a meeting recently?
we had
We
a,
met in,
we had a meeting.
I'm a member and I have never gotten a single contact regarding anything.
met in
single
September.
contact regarding what?
Meetings.
Well, who?
The association,
Association.
anything.
The
That from
association
that
is a
end.
private 501c3?
No, but is she saying she?
Yeah,
has not-
she hasn't, I mean, MA, I would say we don't have any, the library and the board don't have any control over the association, so.
I know that, but we also have members sitting there right now who are also members of the association.
Had a virtual.
And they might know if there had been any contact or meetings.
We had a virtual
any-
meeting in, I want to say September.
Donna's saying that they had a virtual
Yeah.
meeting in September.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
The
I,
meeting was before this letter.
yes, it was
Okay.
before that letter was received. I do know
Okay.
that.
I guess my point is we set a deadline. And now we should have, how do we respond to that deadline? Do we not respond to that deadline?
I don't think we respond to the deadline. We wait to hear from when the association gets the information or that gets the
I
information.
agree.
and then we could put that on as like I'm assuming would go on like old business for next month. We
Absolutely.
can check
Yeah,
in
and
and be
do-
like,
and
hey,
then
Yeah.
Go to old
yeah,
business
have we heard
and
anything?
are we
Yeah,
extending the deadline? Or are we, sending them, we have an open deadline and we have to do something, whether we decide not to do anything or we decide to do something.
I would say that you just, you know, again, defer to next month and see if,
I think
There's been a-
communication has to be. Communication.
So we should send them something?
no, like
No,
wait
I wouldn't.
wait till next month just because if the association is sending the information that the Friends had requested, like say this week or next week, it will be like check in at our next
See
meeting.
if they responded.
Yeah.
Okay, and our next
Anything that
meeting,
would be sent that would be addressing a deadline that this board created is going to be viewed as hostile. I would not go down that path
Yeah,
at this
I
point.
think
We're
at this
trying to
point-
encourage
okay,
them.
so the next meeting is,
November,
For an update, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
just for an
Yeah.
update, it would be November 18th, I think.
okay, so can I have a
Okay.
motion that we defer action until the meeting of November 18th on the deadline?
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second on that?
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whoops, discussion, I'm sorry. Peter. Sorry, Peter.
Reason we're deferring,
This is a very touchy subject, and I agree with Kurt that we really have to be very careful from our end. We can't be too pushy.
I'm concerned because I don't know what the town is doing.
I don't either.
Last thing I
As
wanna
far
do-
as I know, at this point, the town itself is not doing anything.
Who's responsible? On this board.
That's a good question.
well, I don't think you have any say in what they decide to
Yeah,
do as a
they're-
five oh one C.
they're
As
separate
long as they're
organizations.
donating that money to some other 501c, then the town has no legal right to address that I'm aware of. And I've spoken to an attorney about that. So
How about the library for which the funds were solicited or the donors? who
Yeah, I
gave
mean,
money?
there's a
Yeah.
question because
Or
of
is it
Connecticut
solicitation?
precedent, but I
you-
mean,
the moral side of it would be that the people who worked on raising that money, the volunteers, the people who donated the books, the residents
Yeah.
in the town of Hebron, really are getting shortchanged if it turns out that that goes somewhere else.
Right.
Yes,
All I
exactly.
can say to that is shame on them that they would even consider such a thing when the intent originally for the entire fundraising was for the Douglas Library. It wasn't for the Willimantic Library
Mhm.
or any other 501c. But the problem here is that they hold the cards.
yeah, we don't.
So there's no advantage in going after them in somewhat of a hostile fashion or laying down some kind of deadlines or whatever, because they can just go, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We
it's not a
hope to-
separate
to-
organization.
You know,
Town
there
has
are
to-
other new directors that have come on the Friends, who I hope are going to see the
Oh, new directors. Okay.
new directors that have
Yeah.
been elected to the board. I was asked to step down because I was a bit too aggressive in my attempt to say this is nuts.
You
so-
mean in terms of not giving it to the
Yeah,
library?
in terms of the entire organization, it's being run, in my opinion, by a couple people who are very strong people, very strong-minded people, and don't have the town of Hebron's interest in my opinion, in that organization. It's gotten
Yeah.
very personal and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to go down any more of that path, but I'm just saying that this is not a group that I consider to be very professional. They're just going to have to be eased into this and hope that they come to their senses, and maybe some of the new directors will have a say and say, no, that doesn't seem right to me, and move it back to another position. Ideally, it would be great if they just stayed, if the people who are in it running now, just walk away, take your ball and bat and go home. But don't sell the town of Hebron short through that process by destroying what so many people have enjoyed being a part of. I mean, look at the number of cars that were stopping out here, dropping off books. It was
Me too.
multiple cars
Mhm.
daily for the short amount of time I'm around here. And so it's like, you're breaking a moral kind of oath, in my opinion, that this is something that the town does. It's an opportunity for those of us that are older to get rid of our books that we've been collecting and have somebody else be able to enjoy them, hopefully. I mean, I know they get sorted, but it's not right, in my opinion, morally. And that was one of the reasons why when they came to me and said, we think that you're, too far on I said, fine, if you need me to step down, I'll step down. It was getting to the point where I was probably going to do that anyway, because I just didn't think they were at all professionally run.
At this point, since you've been in the trenches with them.
Yeah.
Is there any chance of a comeback? Or is
I
it-
doubt it,
Okay,
not with that particular group.
okay.
It's one, possibly two individuals that are strong enough in the way that organization is put together that unless the other new directors come to their senses and realize the same thing I realized after a relatively short period of time and do something to block the leadership's efforts, then that might be the only way I can see that happening. Is it, I'm not sure who has the answer to this. Is it public information as to who those directors are?
It should be.
It should be, but it's not.
I did one time try to go finding the information on any website, and it is not
No, it's-
easily accessible. I had to
No.
like root
It
around
should,
and
I mean, it
ask some
should be.
people.
people.
We're not getting-
501c3 should
I
be
would think
public
there's a
information,
501c3.
but-
Yeah,
Should
you'd
be
probably have to
getting
go to the state
financial
to get
information
like the
too.
list of directors,
But that's not been changed.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Probably not.
That's
Probably
the-
still includes
Right.
me on the list at that point,
Maybe,
but
I'll have to check.
I feel like from our
Long. That there would be enough. Hope that they do the right.
Right. From our perspective, in terms of, having this as in terms of what the association, or sorry, what the Board of Trustees should be doing, I feel like at this point, we keep it as a report or as an old business, kind of a check-in, like any updates.
Yep.
Just so then that way, if there is an update, we know.
Mhm.
And then we can move forward in terms of the implications of that update.
Mhm.
But right now, I feel like we might just have to kind of table things.
That was your motion to table it?
well,
Well,
I think
Without a board, without a
Well, who's,
library total membership vote,
Right.
right?
I don't believe so.
No.
but-
it's
I
just,
don't know.
no,
be
they,
honest with you, I
they
don't
vote
know.
on things as the board of directors.
So
I've
the-
never seen,
But
I think members are invited. Sometimes
the-
they're there.
Dissolution process, I believe
don't
that
think
it's
it's anybody but
supposed
the
to
tax-
be.
Well, the
a
board
full
has the
member
power
that-
to
Well,
dissolve
if that,
under
that-
months.
this is another problem that
That's not Corporation
their
Act.
bylaws and their mission are completely different from what this whole effort is going through. I mean, if you look at, and I have a copy, but I didn't bring it, but it's like, the mission is for the Douglas Library.
Right.
So,
The last sentence of this letter says this letter should not be construed as anything other than a request for information. Letter is not an have to be approved by the executive board of the Friend.
Oh,
As part of a proposed plan of dissolution of assets, then be submitted to multiple Friends voting members.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's part of.
that's Tim's response?
When you're dissolving a
Okay.
501c3.
so don't get your
That-
hopes up.
No, actually, I think that's a good thing.
I-
Executive board will be making a recommendation, but the
Yeah.
entire.
Entire membership has to,
membership will have to-
that's
So
like I said,
That
I've
offers more
I've
optimism for
gone
me.
through this process with
It
a
depends-
planned dissolution of a 501c3.
It depends
and
on
the
what they
final
recommend.
entity.
If they only recommend one thing and the board, I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah, but
I see a way
The
to
executive,
wiggle through it.
the,
Members that have been with the Friends for a very long time.
Okay,
That there should be enough influence. Right then.
right.
yeah,
that would be good.
Not all of them are in agreement that the group should dissolve. So there are people.
So you,
I'm gonna say I have.
Dale, would you not
heard
agree
that-
with that?
so I mean, there would be a chance for a comeback, maybe.
Yes, possibly. Now, the way we've discussed this in the last 10 minutes or whatever, yes, maybe. But the fact that it ends up being the executive board of directors is not necessarily a good thing, because that's where the problem lies, in my opinion, completely. The rest of the people that are involved in it are doing what we all love doing, was serving the town of Hebron and the Douglas Library by volunteering.
But
How
I,
is the board elected? Do the members, can they change the board members?
Yeah.
And does it have to be at a regular election or do you know?
No, it's done by the just the board.
So the board.
But they have I think their bylaws created a certain number of directors, so that if like in my case, when I stepped down, oh, they had somebody to come right in
Oh,
right
so
away,
the
right away,
board
but that was the
appoints-
person that
Board is
was
self-perpetuating.
very
Self-
amenable to
self-
them.
Yeah, yeah.
Self-perpetuating. I gotcha. Now I understand.
So it was like, yep, he's out, she's in, we're good to go now, so.
So
But
from,
anyway,
I was gonna say, from our perspective, it might, I forget now actually what the wording was, but it might make sense to make a motion instead of extending a deadline to just table, I
Okay.
don't know how to phrase it, to
Table-
table.
You may withdraw
Further-
your motion.
yeah.
Would you like
And
to
I'll
withdraw
withdraw
your
this.
motion?
I will withdraw my motion.
And I'll withdraw the second.
Okay, and I would like to, I need help with phrasing though. Make a
Uh,
motion that we
Table
table
discussion of the
discussion
matter and action until,
The November meeting,
until November meeting.
yeah, I'll second
But we
that.
don't need a motion. We
To
can
move on.
simply report that we plan to do that without the pressure of a motion.
Okay, that's probably true.
So I would
That-
have to
that-
have a motion to table it. Which is what she just
Right,
did.
that's what I was just saying. I just made a motion to table it because the way that it's phrased right now was still that we were extending the deadline until today. So because we had put that in last month's minutes, I was just making a motion to table any talk of deadlines.
You consider that motion in hopes that we get a response.
Or you could
Well,
simply
or just
say,
until we get an update
discussion was
about
held.
the Friends situation. I don't know that we'll get a response, but if we phrase it just, we table it until next month to see if we have additional information.
That's good.
Sounds
Or
much less
we can
hostile.
just say, why can't we just say that the topic was discussed and we're simply hoping for a reply from the Friends and do it without a motion. Just a
I-
part of our report.
No, you have
just-
to, no,
Yeah.
We have to have a motion. Because we voted to set the deadline.
yeah, so since there
We
was.
now have to vote.
yeah, to-
Yeah.
We changed the deadline.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we need to have a procedural motion to
Yes.
table it.
yes.
Yep.
So
Yes.
I make a motion that we table the deadline and discussion of the
friends.
Friends of the Library discussion until the November meeting.
Okay, so that we table any discussion or decisions regarding the Friends of the Library until our November meeting.
Yes.
Does that sound about good?
Yes. Yep.
You like that?
I love
In
it.
hopes of a response.
Any further
Yeah.
discussion? Yeah.
I don't,
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think we should put in hopes of a response. Because the reason we're doing this is obvious that we're doing it to give them more time to respond.
And that maybe we won't get a response and
Yeah,
that's
and-
what it is.
I mean,
Just-
why tempt them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, all right, now we got this right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
All
And
right.
I'll still second
He's
it.
still second. Do you have any
Okay.
discussion, any more discussion?
Any more discussion?
Can Catherine read it back to us?
Catherine, what you got?
Or do you want me to write it and then I'll make sure that she
Okay,
has the
write us
wording?
in, yeah,
Okay.
please, okay.
So we're going to table any further discussion or action.
Regarding the Friends of the
Hang
Library.
on, I can't write that fast.
Sorry.
I don't do shorthand.
Oh,
I tried to learn once, it
that
didn't
was
work.
awful.
Or action regarding the Friends of the Library. Until the, no, my
November.
God, that is not how you spell until. Until the November meeting.
Can I make an amendment to that? Now I'm thinking about, and put in there because we have not had a response. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's fine
I-
because just we don't have anything to go on. So
yeah,
yeah. I think that's
because
fine.
we have not
I
had a
don't like
response.
I don't like the strength of this. I don't see why we can't just say that the topic, we don't have to say tabled, will be kept on the agenda for the next meeting.
We have to make a motion because of the phrasing in last month's minutes.
Because of the phrasing at the last meeting, there has to be a motion and the phrasing is table the discussion. So yeah,
Awful.
it has to be done that way.
Yeah, but I agree procedurally, we have to respond, once we have done a motion,
Right.
if we are changing the behavior
Then you
that the
have to-
motion
Yep.
gave
Right,
us,
right.
or the permission it
Then
gave
we
us, we
need to
have to
table it.
amend the motion in some way by doing a new motion.
Yep. So I will,
Do you still second?
I'll still
the mo-
second
Okay.
I might just-
so I will email that wording to Catherine so that she has
Okay.
the,
Now, do we have any more discussion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
All those opposed?
Nay.
Abstentions. Oh, you opposed?
That
MA?
is correct.
One, you got that? Now we have to write down everybody that said aye.
that's fine. We got,
So we do a,
Okay.
Or you can just say the
Kirk,
one that,
Dale, Peter, Pat, and Nay.
Okay,
right
we
or
got-
wrong, I do not like the pressure we are putting on the Friends.
okay. So we got everybody who voted for, we have those who
Yep.
voted against, and we had no abstentions.
Yep. Okay, and I will, like I said, I will email that to Catherine so she has all the
And so,
details.
the motion has carried. Okay. Next is new business.
New business. So as Donna mentioned, we have our capital, budget request is due. So first I need the board to reaffirm our request from previous years to repave the parking lot. And we have asked for this. This has been asked for several years. So it's just reaffirming that, yes, we still want this done. And that is for a cost of $173,919. And that is the amount that was approved last year. That is the amount that I understand Kevin had approved. So it is based on the estimate that we got to do that. But that is just the existing request that had been sent in. So we're reaffirming that.
Put it off until.
Yes, so
they-
we asked that it be put off until the bridge be done, and then there's a project to redo the entryway. Where that stamped brick pavement and stuff is, that it didn't make sense to do the parking lot and then have to undo part of it. For having that done, so.
So the request should go in with this year's budget.
So the CI, yes, so basically we're saying, we've already asked for this in the past, we've asked for this amount in the past, we are asking for the same thing as we have in the past. We have to vote on it every year, even though you've already voted on it once.
Okay.
Or twice, as the case may be, or more than that. And then I would also like to ask, so there's a sort of second CIP process for projects under $70,000. And I would like to ask, I would like to have the board ask for, $25,000 a year for 3 years to repaint the entirety of the inside of this library. I've gotten several estimates. That should actually be more than enough, but just in case we run into unforeseen issues, that covers, if something goes horribly wrong, but, the paint in most of the library is in really sad shape. And it does need to be done. I know that, requests had been made in previous years before I started, but it was to do the whole thing as one big lump sum, which was turned down.
So it's been over the years talked about many times about how to best deal with the painting of. And the threshold is 75,000.
Yep.
But if it's paint 3 years at $25,000, that's a 75,000.
It's a 75,000 project. Okay.
In the past, not really considered a capital project.
No, it's not.
Painting is part of the regular building. I talked about for one floor at a time.
Yep, and that
once
is,
The carpeting was done. Should have been doing.
yeah,
one
and that
floor
is,
at a time.
the
That's-
estimates that I got were to do individual floors, and that's where that number comes from.
Okay.
So it's really not a capital.
Okay, so we should ask for that in,
Kind of bounce out of.
okay, so
CIP.
Okay.
In that case, ignore that and I will ask for additional funds in building maintenance for a budget request.
No,
That-
but we do have to vote on.
Well, you do need to vote on the
CIP.
the CIP, the 173,919 for repaving the parking lot, which again has been voted on multiple times.
Right, yeah,
It's just
I remember.
reaffirming.
I mean,
Yeah.
alternatively, how much would it cost to put a diving board on the biggest pothole?
The insurance costs would make that prohibitive, so let's just repave it.
So, so do
It'll be
I-
fine. So, we're gonna have bungee jumping off the bridge as a library program.
So
Is
there
it-
is another, so the bridge is funded by a grant. Another grant that is doing.
Yep.
In this area, some.
The
I think-
curbs, I know Matt said some of the curbs were gonna be cleaned up, that kind of stuff.
Wasn't
Yeah.
some of that going into the steep grant?
Yes, so some of this, we're gonna do these projects.
To get, like, together, yeah,
Yeah.
that was what, Matt Bordeaux and I had talked about,
Right.
that some of it might be an overlap, but,
Right,
but
we
we're
wanna make
gonna
sure-
budget as though it's not.
Right.
Wanna make sure that there is enough funding.
Yep.
To get anything done that needs to be done.
My question is that quote, is a year old.
Mhm.
Whether the cost of supplies.
I have been told, and this is talking to the people paving the parking lot at my other job, that costs have not gone up significantly from last year.
That's all I was
So
just
it should
concerned,
be,
yeah.
it should be comparable.
The price of asphalt has not gone up
Yeah.
in the last year.
That,
You know, it's done in conjunction with that other
Yeah.
project. I think they're going, kind of gonna.
I
open it up.
went out and talked to the contractor at because I happened to see him and I was like, hey, let me go out and chat with him. And he said, no, his costs for projects have not gone up. So he's not charging more than he was a year ago. So it should be comparable.
Now, this, it may be tonight the only capital project we vote on, but it's not the only capital project for the ensuing budget year, is it?
Yeah, it would be the only one that met the threshold for spending.
Site painting's okay.
Outside painting, we're in good shape outside. Obviously, the
But
roof
that's
is
not
good, that
capital
was just
anyway.
done. Yeah, painting is not, but no, the outside of the building is,
Outside. Would-
the outside of the
If
building is in good
you're
shape.
replacing. Because if
Yeah, 'cause I
if
was
you're
just wrote down
also
recently,
have a
right?
contract to replace.
Yeah. They touched up some of that paint on the front when they did the roofing project,
Oh,
so. Yeah, again.
Well, we have to have
Yeah,
them
no, I
redone.
know we had to have them redone.
So, we just received them and we're currently going through them. And
Yeah.
They have not been distributed yet to the department.
So there may be
But-
something
So,
in that.
and we need to take a look and make sure that there's nothing in those reports that might
Yeah, but I don't,
fall under.
so we shouldn't. vote
as
on this
far as
tonight.
I know. You have to because the deadline to turn this in is before our next meeting.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
We can vote on this and that's,
And add-
okay.
You can add to it if you need to, but as far as I know, there is nothing else significant.
No cameras?
The cameras would not be capital. That's not, and the cameras are being replaced as part of the town security project. But that's not a capital, that's not, I mean, $50 for a nanny cam, for a pair of nanny cams is not a capital expense. Yeah, but I mean, that's already part of the security project that's being done.
So the paving includes the curbing.
The curbing, yes, and the part of the curbing is part of the other grant project that's covering, or the other project that's covering some of it is the
So this is just like,
This
you
is-
know, it's like
flat surface.
2 inches compressed to one, yeah.
Yeah. Basically.
I'll make a motion to accept the CIP project as presented.
173,919.
Nope.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, it is passed unanimously.
Fill out my form, that on my to-do list for tomorrow.
Okay,
Just have to move it to a different line on the form.
okay, so that's done. And you said that if we come up with something else, if something, for example, needs to be find termites or something, Donna, we can go back and,
Better not be termites.
Yeah.
We pay for
Okay.
pest control.
okay. All right, other business. Did everyone get their Cracker Jacks?
Yes, thank you.
Flash
And-
back to the 60s.
The only thing I would have for other business is a reminder that Harvest Moon Festival is this weekend,
Is it?
coming weekend. It is, in fact. And we will be doing haunted mini golf, or I should say the teens will be doing haunted mini golf in this room.
I'm excited that enough kids.
We
came
have a
together this
really
year.
good turnout,
That's really
actually.
good.
So Lita and I will be here,
Okay.
keeping an eye on the teens. We'll be here all day on Saturday. So, stick your head in and say hi.
Do they have enough, the indoor cups?
Yes, actually. So that's something that we had bought last year at one point, was sort of a permanent setup to be able
Alright.
to do, because we've done mini golf upstairs in the children's department.
No, just make a note of.
But everything is sized for very small people. So if you want to play a round of mini golf, be prepared. You're gonna have to bend all the way over, because I've tried it.
These
It
are
doesn't
just the
work very
cups,
well.
but I've got
Yeah.
like 9 of them, I think.
Okay.
left over. We did this at an office
Yeah,
party.
we have,
Trust me, that's a really funny thing. to
we
do.
have enough to, I think we can do 20 holes altogether. I don't think we're gonna fit 20 holes in this room, but
Yeah,
we
if you
bought,
need 'em.
we bought 2
Yeah, you could.
sets.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It can be fun.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause you can
the
have
littles, the
crossovers.
littles really enjoy it, but so we will be down here, 2 to 4, but we're figuring that whoever's in line at 4 will send through, and then they'll go to, trick or treating.
I remember
Straight from here.
2 years ago, the haunted library mini golf was like one of the most popular things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, so that's where we're,
Requested consideration.
they wanted us to go until 7.
Right. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
and no, so basically whoever's in line at 4, we're not gonna kick them out. But we're not gonna add to the line after 4. That's kind of the plan, because by 4:30, most littles are gonna want to be heading over to trick or
Right.
treating anyway, so. Yeah, so that's the plan.
Trick or treating's later.
It's at 5 according
5,
to
yeah.
the, yeah. That's what the flyers said, was 5.
Yeah, because I think I'm working trick or treating, so.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
the hours are 2 to 4, and then we'll cut off the line at, no one can add to the line at 4.
Does anyone else have any questions about Harvest Moon or mini golf or? Hmm? Okay. Strategic plan committees. Do we have any reports?
Just what I had mentioned before, but I'll mention it here, that we're continuing to have a connection between Drusilla and the high school especially, but we got a nice little middle school slip in now with.
I have an email address for them. If
Perfect.
we have something
Excellent.
that's middle school.
Yeah, and I'm thinking with when we had done the email thing where I was talking about, hey, what I would ideally love to do is to create a video like, hey, here's the teen center. So in hearing about the discussions, I feel like that might be something that, especially if we're gonna get some new furniture and glass and that kind of stuff. And if right now, knock on wood, it seems
Fair.
hopefully like some of the initial problems in the beginning of the year are tamping down, easing up a little bit, that I would like to do the video with the idea that it would be for the beginning of next school year. So like once we get the changes to the teen center, and then it would be something that would be like the very, very beginning of the school year before the first early release day. Hey, especially for 7th and 8th graders, because I thought it was important that you mentioned that for a lot of them, this is their first taste of freedom, and they don't
Yeah,
always handle
they-
that in a responsible way. So, if we can, we'll be proactive in the very beginning of the year. So that's my intention, is that then I can work on that, especially because I have a journalism student who will be like in the advanced section next semester. And I think that I
So
could
we could put
yeah,
that together and have
put
it
that
ready to
together
go.
in the spring to have that. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be great if the people from this year could put it in put themselves in the video
Yeah,
for next
Yeah,
year.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So That's integral.
That's integral?
Yeah.
All right. Anything from oversight, welcoming, safe, or evolving?
I think the only way out for safe is that, Priscilla got the, buy-in from the fire marshal and a town building inspector. Put in an additional railing up the stairs.
A child height railing, yeah.
Oh, great.
So
That's
now
a
I
great
just
idea.
have to, it's on my list to get some estimates for that and figure out how that would work.
Nice.
Go on CIP.
Yeah, but I gotta get it. It's gonna take a while to get estimates. That's not gonna happen next week.
I'm not
I
quite
can
sure
already
how
tell
you
you that.
need to do it, but
Well, that's why I gotta get some experts in here to look at it
Yeah,
and figure
yeah.
out how that's gonna work, but.
That's a good idea, though. I like that.
Does the clerk's one install it? Is that what you're thinking? I was thinking Public Works. would-
Yeah, they'd have to, it has, because of the way that our stairs go, it would have to be manufactured for the space. I'm pretty sure, like, I'm 95% sure that, because it railings, I mean, they come in standard lengths, but our stairs are not standard, they kind of go around curves and so on, so.
so you'd have
Um,
to design it.
It would
first.
have to be manufactured. Even if not, even if, Public Works came and installed it, we'd still have to get that, so
All right.
it's on my list. Track down.
Anything welcoming, safe, and evolving? Oh, I think we hit everything. Now, since, anything else? Did I miss anything? So anyone want to move?
I make.
There you go, Gail. Gail moved to adjourn. Is there a second?
Peter has to second that one.
Second,
Need a little balance on.
There we go.
Any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Hi.
Opposition? Abstentions? The motion passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank-
Yeah,
thank
thank you. That was very nice.
Yeah,
of you.
very nice.
It was on sale.
It's nice to meet you,
I'm
but
bringing-
really just see